Whether you are on an adventure or at the downtown cafe, your answers are no more than a sniff away. Dog Training 360's purpose is simple: to teach you why dogs do what they do, as well as the action steps you need to take to have better communication, connection, consistency, and conceivability with your dog. So as we're wrapping up this 4-week session of recalls and talking about the come command and talking about connection and talking about wandering and talking about your dogs being on leash and the routines of it all, Melissa, take me through just, step by step from the time you get your dog, just kind of break it down into some steps that you would say, here's where it starts and here's where it ends.
It starts with the bonding stuff, like building a relationship with your dog, on leash all the time. So it's out of the crate, you're on leash. He can't, the dog can't have some outside potty time, we got to give our dog
kind of some dog time.
Some dog time.
Yep.
But have your dog on leash, go through those routines. Hand feeding is a big one. Transfer that to a long line when you're out and about, so there can have some room where you can wander. We talked about last week. If your dog's trying to lead, go the opposite way until they are walking right next to your side. Building those kind of increments, the more distractions. But then you can drop your leash, wander, and have your dog still stick with you. And going to places where you and your dog are together, kind of exploring. You can play typical recall games.
What are some of those?
One person will call, give a treat. The other person, that's very different than come, but it's in the realm.
It's all part of it.
It's all part of it.
Yeah.
I love to play hide and seek with my dogs and other different dogs. It's a fun game that they have to come seek you out, and there's a big reward for that. And then adding the distractions, adding going out. What does that mean? Building that connection and working together out and about, so you can drop that leash and they're still there. There's still that bond together. So
how do you know when to start adding the come command or your here command or with me command? Like at what point do you have clients do that?
Usually towards the end, if their main focus is come or recall, and let's say if it's about 6 sessions, it'll probably be the 5th that we start adding that word. I really think it's overused a lot. And so I focus first on, let's work on your dog not leaving your side without telling, without having them come back. And then when they go, bringing them back in. So it's first and foremost, let's have your dog not leave your side. And then we're going to add that word coming in.
How do you know when to transition off the leash?
When you don't need to use the leash. If I'm wandering or if I'm working on leash and I never have to pick up that leash and give a correction, and I've gone through the steps, I've gone through big stressor places, or I've gone kind of what their routine is, and if I don't have to ever use that leash, then that's when I take it off. But I still have it on my hand, and I'll put it in increments.
So when would you put the leash back on, or feel like, nope, we're not quite ready yet, without letting the dog make a mistake?
Usually I watch the person's energy. Really? And when they start getting really nervous, and they start trying to micromanage.
Hey.
Do you have this back with you?
Yeah, I'll take it.
See you guys. Perfect. Thank you.
It's a busy house when you've got trainers coming in and out. So just to connect back, so without the dog making a big mistake to lose that, because one mistake can lead to a very bad place and having to start all over again, depending upon the mistake. Where's that feel of transition to taking the leash off, putting the leash back on? How do you help people understand that element of that?
That's a hard one, and it's not because of the dog generally. It's we get very nervous, and so when I notice them tensing up or what are they doing? They're smelling. What are they smelling? Put the leash on. We don't need to put that energy on them. And so, without feeling like we need our dogs to be the perfect recall dogs, because I feel like we're well, so and so has their dog off leash, so I need to too. But if you start feeling nervous, like you have to give a command, put the leash back on.
Yeah.
And then keep going, build that success. Usually the first lesson I do when I start taking that leash off, it's 5 minutes off, 2 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 2 minutes on, and then increasing that. But it's always you put that leash back on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't want, the leash is not a punishment.
Right.
And that's something that I really like. Your dog doesn't feel bad when you put the leash on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Right.
Like, that's not
as long as you're exploring and being with them like you have all along with the leash stuff.
Yeah. And so once, it's kind of funny because once people start liking the leash is when I have them take it off.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's like the kind of rule. So always ending on a success and putting the leash on and doing something to have a bigger success.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very, I think a lot of people get frustrated with come and recall because a lot of the training isn't that.
Right. Right.
We're not going out to a field and I'm not just going to yell at your dog.
Yeah.
Come.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Right. Right.
So it's those 5 minutes, well, starting 5 minutes on, 2 minutes off.
Yeah.
And then switching those times.
Yeah. I like that. What is some advice that you could give, people that are listening and kind of working on this recall thing of changing your energy so that come isn't so stressful?
Find a different word if come is stressful to you. Come and heal. I do not like to use those words generally. Yeah. Because we get weird when we say them.
Yep. There's a weird picture that
isn't
happens.
There? And so I usually say with me or come back or hey, you forgot about me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something I'll have people do, but make sure that you are open to your dog so that they are open to come to you.
Yeah.
Be happy with them on leash and start working with those bonding exercises. And so come is not, oh my gosh, they're going to go smell this and what are they doing?
Right.
Let your dog smell it.
Right. Because that's the purpose of wandering.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Wander with your dog and don't prepare for everything, but don't fear the worst.
Yeah.
And that dogs are going to be dogs, and and it's hard for me to really explain it, but I really think that when we have a hard time with come, it is because there's something internal we're working on.
Yeah. Yep.
We get our feelings hurt when our dog doesn't come back to us.
Yeah.
Our dogs may or may not be doing it purposely like that.
Right, yeah.
But we should not put that on our dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if come is stressful and if you are scared and you don't want to work on recall and that's something big and scary that you don't like, don't work on it.
Right. Yeah.
So just get it out.
Exactly.
Connect that long line to your dog and say, hey, I want to be with you.
This is what we're doing. Yeah.
You are my friend.
Yep.
I've had clients say that putting leashes on. Tell your dog you're his friend.
Yeah. Hey,
stop being with me. Yeah, just relax.
Yeah.
Because when we relax and want to be with our dogs,
right, regardless
of the leash or not, they will want to be with us.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And it takes away the scary
It's kind of a hard, weird thing to have your dog off leash and you feel like you've done everything that you can, and then you just kind of have to, at some point, you have to trust that you're together and you're a team and it's going to be okay. And I, even from a trainer standpoint with the dogs, I mean, you've seen me up there at the barn with Patsy, and the first time that she was off leash, woo, and then she got kicked by the baby horse, and, luckily it was the baby horse that kicked her and wasn't really close, because then she learned that we don't go running through the pasture chasing the horses, and, but she just, once I realized she was going to chase butterflies in the field, and I could still ride the horse, and I didn't have to worry about her, well, that's just that picture, because I surely wouldn't trust that she's, I mean, shoot, I can't even call her off the cat nowadays, so it's like, you're going to go back on leash here, because, that's her total fixation is finding the cat in the house, and we have a hide and seek game between her and the cat. And so, there's certain situations with recall that, it's not easy, and the stress is still there, and the frustration is still there, but, going back to, we're hanging out, we're friends, you're going to stick with me no matter what, and make it fun and make it exciting, I think are really good, it's that feel that you have to just have when you feel like, you know, we're going to try it, but also know that they're going to fail, and that's okay. But if they fail, remember you have to go back to the beginning of that connection, and reminding, and the progress is faster each time that you have to go back to square one. But if we go, well, let's try it again next time, and we go out the next day and they make the same mistake, and then, well, let's go out again, and we go out the next day and they make the same mistakes, we're creating this really bad habit and this pattern, and then it's a fixing problem instead of a teaching problem.
Right.
Yeah. Shannon, what questions do you have that like pop into your head for Melissa or I with Come as you're sitting there and listening, and like questions that clients would have about
what
Come?
Questions?
Come is so abstract. It's such a weird thing to.
I think for the most part, because it's so abstract, like you try to explain it and people just say, well, how do I do that? Yeah. You know? Yeah. Just, you know, don't let your dog just jump out of the car. Well, how do I do that?
Yeah. I think those are really good. You know, what we'll do with this series is we'll shoot a series of videos and have it on our online training course, where you can just log on and kind of watch, like, how do you not let your dog jump out of the car? What do you do in the house when your dog's attached to you? What does it look like to wander? And I'm pretty sure we've got wandering videos on there. What does it look like? You know, if you follow us on Instagram or on Facebook, on our social media channels, you'll see a lot of Melissa and off leash with her dogs and the things that she does a lot, and mine are random because I still have youngins that we don't really do a whole lot of that stuff yet. And so I think that there's, you know, if you have questions, to ask us. If you want to see and watch videos and learn, it's on our online stuff. And that is always progressing and being updated. We also have blogs that explains things in that connection. And I think really following us on social media really kind of gives a big picture of how what that looks like in such an abstract way. And I think that we'll maybe push over the next 2 weeks on social media of what Come is and how, you know, what are those steps to help people understand what that looks like. I think that'll probably be a good series to do as well. So ask away if you want video, if you have questions. There's plenty of ways to answer those questions, and we're happy to answer them.